Hello, this is cybersecurity expert Reginald Andre, and we are live today to talk about a recent report that Microsoft released just 2 days ago about what is happening with all of the cyber attacks. It is said in this report that Russia is behind 58% of the nation state cyber attacks. In a recent study by Microsoft, it's discovered that Russia accounted for 58% of the nation state cyber attacks absorbed in the past year, mostly targeting government agencies involved in foreign policy, national security, or defense. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a deep dive into this report and talking about why this is and giving you details of who is number two. Number two may not surprise you, actually. It's China, just in case you're wondering. So first off, why is Russia targeting the US government? Well, obviously, there's information that they want. There's a lot of, for example, you have the SolarWinds incident that happened a little over a year ago where according to reports, Russian hackers installed special software on machines that the US government did not know on. And basically, they were watching the government for possibly years. It's still not even reported how long that has happened. So, because of all the things that are happening now, as far as the pressure that the Biden administration is putting on different cyber attacks and things like that, Russia is now in the spotlight. And this is essentially what this report is saying. It's saying that according to the report, attacks from Russia, nation state actors are increasingly effective, jumping from a 21% successful compromise rate to 32%. That means that 3 out of the 10 times that they attempt to break into a US government computer, they are able to get in. That is a huge number, a huge number. And another thing that the Russians are going after, they're going after think tanks, which usually addresses policy because they want to know what is it that the US government is thinking about doing, what policies are they trying to do, what's going on, and that's why the Russians want to be one step ahead of that. Another hack that Russians are going after is the healthcare industry, where specifically as it relates to targeting organizations that's developing and testing the COVID-19 vaccines and treatments in the US. And obviously that's a no-brainer because Russia is trying to figure out, okay, what are the big boys doing? What is Pfizer doing? What information are they sending to the United States, to the FDA to now approve of? And they don't want to spend the time and their energy and their research to try to figure out how to have a vaccine. So what do? They come to the United States virtually, and now they are trying to rob the United States and successfully have robbed. That's what it is. They robbed the United States of this information. So another interesting thing on the report that says that the rate of targeting government agencies for intelligence gathering has climbed from 3% of their targets a year ago to 53%. That means that 53, again, just kind of what the title says, last year or the year before that, it was at 3% of their typical targets was just government. Now it's 53%, which is a very, very high number. So I was just joking. I wanted to see how long you guys were going to be staying on the video, but after Russia, it is not China. As you will notice in the picture of the thumbnail, it is not China. After Russia, the largest volume of attacks have actually come from North Korea, which is at 23%. After North Korea, it's Iran, which is 11%, China, which is 8%, and then you have South Korea, Vietnam, Turkey, and then everybody else is less than 1%. But the top countries are Russia, North Korea, and Iran. And of course, these are the countries that U.S. does very to little type of trading with or have any type of good relationships with. So another thing why I wanted to mention on this report is it talked about while espionage is the most common goal for the nation state attacks, There's other items too. For example, Iran. Iran is on the list. They've quadrupled their amount of targeting of Israel in the past year. And they've launched, as you may know, destructive attacks among these against this country. So Iran is also doing a lot of cyber espionage to Israel. Also, North Korea. North Korea is huge on cryptocurrency. As we all know, their economy is right now in shambles. So what they're doing is when you see these ransomware attacks, what they're essentially doing is they're going and putting $500,000, $100,000, having these U.S. companies pay, and it's going back to their economy. It's going back to the government because the government is not able to produce any taxes, and this is why North Korea is in play. Next statistic from this article and report that Microsoft led is that says 21% of attacks observed across nation-state actors targeted consumers, and 79% targeted enterprises, with the most target being the government. So consumers are out there. Hackers still want to come after consumers, and of course, they still want to come after enterprises. Another thing is education. Why? Because education, there's a lot of research that happens there. There's a lot of student information, social security numbers, name, email addresses. There's a lot of information in the education market, which is why hackers want to go after that. IT, managed service providers like us. Hackers want to go after us because if they can get into an IT system, they now have access to all of the clients that we manage. Energy and media. So that is the top sectors that when hackers go after. Now, also another interesting part is the top 5 industries targeted in the last year. And the first one was consumer retail. Second, financial services. Makes sense, right? Where the money is. Manufacturing, government, and then healthcare. So those are the top 5 industries. But nevertheless, the US is by far the most targeted country, receiving more than triple the ransomware attacks of the next most targeted nation. After the US, so US is the one that's most targeted, and after the United States is China, Japan, Germany, and the United Arab Emirates, which is also called the UAE. So this is all very interesting information because a lot of times people think, oh, it's China. China is the one that is actually the one that's coming after the US. But according to this Microsoft report, it's actually Russia, then North Korea. China accounted fewer than 1 of 10 of the state-backed hacking attempts Microsoft detected. So only 1 out of the 10 attacks that are state-sponsored, according to this report, is coming from China. However, the interesting thing that I found was that China had a 44% successful rate. 44% of the time when China needed to or wanted to get into a government system, they were successful. That is scary. 44% of the time. That tells you how sophisticated their systems are. And if they really, really want to, they can get into their systems. Now, another thing on this report is that it talked about how China is really doing a lot of cyber espionage. So a lot of times you think of espionage, you have someone inside maybe a corporate environment and they're like, trading information, selling the information. But China is doing what is called cyber espionage. And they're working in a lot of places in the Central and South American companies. Maybe you guys know about the Belt and Road Initiative and the infrastructure they're doing in South Africa, Taiwan, Hong Kong, with those issues there. So they're really now going into these countries to get information. What are they saying about us? What are the people thinking about us? What information can we put in their heads to make us look better in front of them? So this is also another interesting thing about that. So a lot of times people ask me, Andre, why is the U.S. allowing this? Why is the United States, greatest country militarily, and we spend billions of dollars. Why is the United States allowing this? And unfortunately, the answer I give them usually they don't like to hear, and this is because the United States government is doing it too. And this is not to go on political or anything like that, but it's the truth. We just mentioned how much billions of dollars the United States is spending on their cybersecurity. Well, I don't say every, but a majority of the agencies out there, the 3-letter, 4-letter agencies that are out there, they have their own cybersecurity, and not necessarily defense either. It's offense. You have CISA, you have NSA, you have FBI, you have Homeland Security, you have CIA, you have the US military. All of these different branches have their own cybersecurity department, and their job is to now go and attack other countries and to get information for whatever their mission is. So, yes, this whole report that I gave is talking about what countries are attacking the United States, but on the very down low, the United States has a lot of skilled cybersecurity people as well. And maybe Microsoft is not going to report that because it's classified. Maybe they're not allowed to. Maybe they're looking the other way, or maybe they just don't know. But this is why the US is allowing it. Because if you look at what Joe Biden has said, right? Joe Biden has, again, this is not political. I'm just giving you facts. He's drawn red lines saying, you guys don't do this. I don't want you to attack these industries. I don't want you to attack energy. I don't want you to attack gas. I don't want you to attack our food. He's telling this to countries. And what happens right after? They're doing it. Why? Because the US is also, they're learning all of this from the US. But I'll leave that there. But there's definitely US cyber operators, and the US has among the most skilled ones. And you can best believe whatever they're doing to us here in the US, it's just a matter of we're doing it too. We're either just not getting caught, or it's just not being reported in the media. But you have to believe that if they're spending that amount of money, they are doing that as well. So that's all I had today. Wanted to just give you that quick update about this report. I'll go ahead and put the link below so that you can read the full report, but I kind of just highlighted some of the items that I wanted to talk about. Reginald Andre with Arc Solvers. We have a cybersecurity business here in Miami, Florida, in the USA. Please like and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts about this video.